All right, football fans, welcome to the NFL Week 9 recap roundtable for the Football v Football podcast. What a great slate we had today. Going to go ahead and jump right in. The Miami Dolphins beat the Chicago Bears 35 to 32. Coming into this game, Tyreek had one red zone target all year, and he immediately caught a red zone touchdown. Big start to this game. I thought Darnell Mooney had a really good game, and I think he would be a tremendous number two receiver on any other team. He's forced here into the number one role, but I think he has a great ceiling as a number two receiver if they can draft one, or if Chase Claypool can emerge. I didn't see him do much today. The Bears are also a team that seems to do a lot of reclamation projects for wide receivers. N'Keal Harry is the current one here. I saw him get a catch today. I thought he was great in college at Arizona State. Never worked in New England for whatever reason and found his way here. Maybe he'll emerge. One play that I remember on the Bears 15-yard line, the Dolphins in the fourth quarter were up by 3 points and refused to kick a field goal. And they didn't convert on fourth down. I think they were 1 for 4 on fourth downs during this game. They had no faith in their kicker, Jason Sanders, who had missed at least one kick earlier in the game. And they had no faith in their defense, and I don't blame them. I mean, they had given up 32 points to the Bears. I don't know who had given up 32 points to the Bears, heretofore. So, it speaks to how well the Bears are playing overall as the season progresses. I think they've gotten better as the season progresses. I think they have a very strong foundation with their run with Fields and with Khalil Herbert and with Montgomery. And then now they are setting up, they're working on the run to set up the pass. And, with Mooney and maybe Claypool emerges, and even Harry and Kmet. I think Kmet had a couple touchdowns or tight end. I think they have a good formula here. And the Dolphins pulled this one off. Of course, Tyreek, Waddle, Tua, even their new running backs, Jeff Wilson. He looked good as well. This was a very good game, a very tightly contested game. Dolphins come up on top, and the AFC East is looking stronger than ever. And we'll touch on that in the next game here with the New York Jets beating the Buffalo Bills 20-17. This was called in the Pick'em show yesterday. The Jets defense hitting hard all game. It looked like Josh Allen got injured at some point in this game, and he was kind of like flexing his elbow kind of in the fourth quarter. That Robert Saleh fake punt on 4th and 1, when they got that, they were going for it. And this guy just knows. He's very strategic. He knows when to go for things, and he just maximizes his players' talent. It's really impressive. Ahmed Gardner, another interception, really big one. And Josh Allen, that guy is going to throw interceptions almost every game. He's going to give you a shot. He's going to give you probably 2 to 3 shots a game. And they capitalize on that. Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver, has finally emerged. I mean, it took Corey Davis being out, and who's that guy that was requesting a trade? Elijah Moore, something like that. But and even Denzel Mims, I think, was also like out requesting a trade. But Garrett Wilson seems like that's all they need for a receiver. And then they got Michael Carter and James Robinson running plays on a very surprisingly porous Bills run defense. This was shocking to see how big the holes were for Michael Carter and James Robinson today. And I got to give credit to Zach Wilson. He had enough poise to beat the Bills defense. This was a huge step in his career confidence-wise. Big credit to him. Bills, their kryptonite is divisional games. They lost to the Dolphins. They lost here to the Jets. Um, yeah, they are. They are human, and we'll see how this plays out. In the AFC overall, the Chiefs are about to play tonight here. We'll see if they make a statement and take over that number one seed in the AFC. But yeah, that's yet to be seen. We'll move on to the Detroit Lions beating the Green Bay Packers 15-9. Aaron Rodgers, three end zone interceptions in this game. Pretty much all of them underthrows. The second interception was actually a great play call. It was kind of like a bootleg, moving everyone over to one side, and then Rodgers throwing it over to the other side, but he just didn't throw it hard enough. Um, the third interception was another deep throw, it wasn't an interception, but there was another deep throw to Torrey that should have been a touchdown. Torrey was running wide open, and it was just underthrown, and the Lions DB tipped it. Um, I don't know what's going on with Rodgers here. It seems like the arm is not as strong as it used to be. That seems to be what's going on. If we're looking for a reason, that's what stood out to me today. Too many underthrows. He needs to get more strength on these passes. Um, Another note here: Romeo Dobbs, Eric Stokes, and I think two or three other Packers were carted off the field with ankle injuries, and those first two were in the first half. And I think that turf is going to become a thing of the past in the next within the next 2 to 3 years. There's a lot of a narrative. Um, there's a big narrative about how turf causes more injuries than grass. I think there's going to be a movement towards grass. Pete Carroll has come out against it and come out against turf, and some players as well. I think it's going to become a thing of the past because too many players are getting injured on turf. Um, Alan Lazard is really the only hope that Green Bay has at receiver, and it's really criminal that they didn't make any moves to pick up a receiver um, in this, before the trade deadline, and then they didn't do much in the offseason to pick one up either. I think it was really stubbornly dumb. I think it's going to be probably the downfall of this team if they can't pick one up. If they can't get Odell, then it's going to really, this season is going to unravel for them. Um, Lions, they did okay. Scored 15 points. It was basically a touchdown and some field goals, maybe, or maybe two touchdowns. They just benefited from Packers' stupid play. But you know what? They got this win. They did enough. The defense has been terrible all year, and they held the Packers to 9 points. So kudos to them. Moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the Las Vegas Raiders 27-20. So in this game, it continued a long trend of the Raiders of ignoring Devontae one game and then feeding him the ball like over and over and over in the first half of the next game. But then by the second half of these games, even after, on the games that they're feeding him, it doesn't happen. And the connection between Carr and Adams is surprisingly bad. They just weren't connecting. I mean, the targets were there. They just weren't connecting in the second half. And it's surprising because in the first half, Devontae was making these Jaguars defensive backs look silly. And he was lulling them and then going slow and fast, and then beating him down. And he had two touchdowns. He had well over 100 yards receiving and two touchdowns, I think, all in the first half. And then they just shut down in the second half. Jaguars came back. Travis Etienne almost won this game single-handedly. Had 126 total yards and two touchdowns. Hell of a game for him. That guy's emerging. And the Jaguars just have a bunch of receivers that just look the same. And even their numbers, they're all in the teens, 13, 11, 17, 10, whatever. Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram, they all just look the same to me. And Lawrence just randomly finds them throughout the game. And that was enough for them to take this game. And like OY mentioned yesterday, all hell might break loose in Vegas after this loss. I think they dropped to 2-6, 2-6 or 2-7, but not looking good in Vegas. Moving on to the Los Angeles Chargers beating the Atlanta Falcons 20-17. This was mostly a very sloppy kind of game. The first half, both teams completely predicated their game on the run. Algier had a big first half, so did Cordero Patterson. Austin Eckler had a great whole game. I mean, this guy is unreal. There was one play where he was tackled and then he kind of like spun on a defender and like basically stayed up. I know they saw his elbow was down, but he basically stayed up and ran to the end zone after balancing on a defender. Should have been a touchdown if he just kept his elbow up a little bit. But he was their whole team. Eckler is so valuable to them in a game where Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were both out. He was incredibly valuable to them and essentially won them this game. I hope they don't run him till he's injured. They did use Spiller a little bit, Isaiah Spiller. Maybe they'll get him more involved as the year goes on. He's a rookie. He can take some damage too. On the Falcons side, I thought Mariota is one of the most inaccurate starting quarterbacks in the league. And it's really kind of surprising because when he came into this league, that was his forte, was just accuracy and not being able to take chances and throw the ball downfield. But as the years have gone on, really the reason why he's in this league is because he has the ability to evade the pocket and evade pressure and use his feet essentially to find people that are open. But this passing game is so poor. Kyle Pitts, he missed Kyle Pitts wide open. I mean, Zacchaeus and London, even London, he had a chance. He fumbled the ball on the 5-yard line. He could have scored a touchdown there. I don't know. This Falcons team, it doesn't seem sustainable. You know, like I think they're a very well coached team, but it's just not clicking. It's not clicking on offense. They're just kind of a random. You know, if they take the Bears approach, I think if they just focus on their three-headed running monster, or even with Mariota 4. And then just base the pass on that. I think they can have more success. I don't think Mariota's as good as Fields right now, but I think it's an approach that they should try taking. So, and the Chargers pulled this off. Kudos to them. They survived. So, moving on to the New England Patriots beating the Indianapolis Colts 26-3. The look on Sam Ehlinger's face in the first half was one of horror. They did what was predicted on this podcast. They scrambled his mind. He didn't. The Colts didn't complete a pass until midway through the second quarter, and they didn't do much all game. Ramondre Stevenson. He did have a great one-handed touchdown catch, but he was stifled for most of this game. I don't think his numbers were that great. I got to give credit to the Colts' run defense. They played really well most of this game. They kept them in this game for a long time, but then I think in the fourth quarter or second half, Patriots scored a couple touchdowns, and then it was over. And that's really the story of this game. It just kind of went as many people thought it would. Minnesota Vikings beat the Washington Commanders 20-17. This was a very close game throughout. Good defensive game for most of it, especially in the second half, even going into the third quarter. To start the second half, Heineke threw into triple coverage. This guy just thinks he can make every throw, and he has over these last few weeks. Mostly to McLaurin. I didn't see much of McLaurin today. But on that triple coverage, Samuel caught it at the goal line, essentially, because the ref trucked one of the three Vikings defensive backs, and Samuel ended up not being touched and scored a touchdown. So it was essentially a long touchdown. All right, we're getting the Vikings fan in here.
Yo, it's just
Yo,
me and you, bro.
yeah, bro. I was running it solo. Nobody was available today, but I was just talking about the Vikings beating the Washington Commanders.
Yo,
So I
man.
want to get your opinion on. Did you see that game? Did you? I know we were talking in the chat a little bit.
I told you there's nothing to worry about, man. The Vikings, bro, what? Yo, first of all, it's 1 o'clock.
It is
Okay.
one.
Second of all, I already called it, man. 15-1.
Were you
What do
scared
you
at any
want?
point during this game?
Huh?
Were you scared at any point during this game? They were losing 17-7, I think, in the fourth quarter.
Not even a little bit, for two reasons. Number one, it's the Washington Commanders, so you know they're gonna blow it. Okay.
Yeah.
Number two, this is my Minnesota Vikings. This is our year. Everything is going great. I'm telling you, man, our coach is going to, by the end of this guy's career, he's going to be the best coach in the NFL. He's gonna be like he's like a combination of John Harbaugh and Bill Belichick. That's the reason.
Wow, that's amazing. Going from offensive coordinator with no coaching experience to the greatest coach of all time.
Easy. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
Listen, time will tell. All of these are recorded. We're gonna have the receipts. Okay, it's gonna be the Vikings are going to win their first Super Bowl under this man. I'm calling it.
Nice. I like it. It is recorded. You're right. And the NFC North is looking like it's crumbling. The Packers lost today. The Bears lost today. The Lions, they look like they're crumbling as well. So, I mean, the Vikings might lock this division up within the next like 2 or 3 weeks. So it's looking good for them within the division. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Carolina Panthers 42-21. The Carolina defense looked really, really bad in the first half of this game. I think it was like 42-7 at one point during this game. Joe Mixon had 5 touchdowns. DJ Moore had no targets in the first half. He ended with 10 yards. He's their best receiver. PJ Walker, get a load of this QB stat line. 3 for 10, 9 yards, 2 interceptions, and he was pulled in the second half for Baker Mayfield. Did you see any of this game, Roldy?
Look, man. When Jamar Chase is on my fantasy team, so when he was out, I've been thinking. I didn't say this out loud because I didn't want to embarrass myself. Although I have embarrassed myself many times on this podcast. I was thinking that you know what? I thought that Joe Burrow was being carried by Jamar Chase, and I thought that last week's loss to the Browns, which you called by the way, good call on that one.
That's right.
Wait, did that actually happen? I want to know if I dreamt it or if that was real.
It was absolutely real. They crushed him by like 20.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm right about this, you know. But hey, it is the Carolina Panthers, and the Carolina Panthers are a train wreck, I would say. But I think this Joe Burrow guy, man, he might be the reason. Yeah, he went to the Super Bowl, and I understand all those things. But Cincinnati Bengals are looking good. I thought that they impressed me today. They really did.
Big time, big time. Joe Mixon had the game of his life, 5 touchdowns. Incredible, incredible game. He'll never ever do that again. I thought that guy was like approaching washed, but all you need is a game against the Panthers to revive your career. And essentially, I mean, it wasn't even this close. Like I said, it was like 42-7 for most of this game, and then, essentially the Bengals gave up. So, one thing that I will say is that the Bengals continue to set up designed runs for Joe Burrow, and I think that's an incredibly stupid thing to do. I think that if they want this guy to get injured, he's already injury prone. So a direct line to the Bengals. Stop giving Joe Burrow designed runs. OY, welcome. We were just wrapping up the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Carolina Panthers. What did you think of this blowout?
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Yakubi for having Joe Mixon in our fantasy league. Apparently, he had the greatest fantasy day ever. I guess it depends on your league, but 55 points is no joke. Real life, I think it kind of to me, I think that the Bengals again, I think that they're a very capable team, and like they show you, they seem to be having an issue with consistency this year. It might be because of that offensive line, honestly, which is like horrible. I also just want to take the only thing I'm going to say about the Panthers is that front office is very stupid. Not only did they hire Matt Rule, but they turned down 2-1 and another pick for Brian Burns, and they turned down a 1 for DJ Moore. That is stupid. They could have loaded up on picks. Like they could have had 3 picks, 4 picks in the next 2 years, 4 number 1 picks, in the next 2 years. So I'm not understanding what they're doing there.
Yeah, instead of getting picks, they're throwing picks, and they didn't even give DJ Moore the ball at all today. Like, why are you going to keep him and not take a 1 pick for him if you're going to give him 2 catches for 10 yards? I mean, they've done this before. I thought that they were already off of this and they were going to get him more involved. They got him more involved last week, and again today they don't give him the ball. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, moving on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the Los Angeles Rams 16-13. Mike Evans again got injured in this game and came back. This guy has the record for most times getting injured within a game and then coming back into a game. He has the record for sure. I've had him on my fantasy team for like 4 straight years. He does this every. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what he's taking, what kind of painkillers he's taken to survive these hits and come back into this game. What did you guys think of this game?
First of all, I'm really happy that Omar joined this call, because if it was just me and you, we finally have somebody who actually knows something about football. Because I was like, oh
Amen.
my God, I don't know how I'm going to be able to go through all of these games not knowing anything about football. So thank you, Omar, for joining. So I'll let you go first on this.
No, man, nobody's going to listen. We're too boring. Nobody's going to listen to us. We need you on this, to get people to listen to us.
Yeah. What did y'all think of the Bucks beating the Rams? It just ended a few minutes ago. Did y'all see any of this game?
All right, go ahead. You go, man.
Brady pulled it. He pulled through. We thought he was washed. We thought it was over. We thought Giselle pulled the mojo from this guy, but he's like, you know what? I got a few more in me, and he got the W.
Damn
That's
right.
That's all I gotta say about that.
Damn right. That's right. Oh, why?
Maybe he broke the spell, man. Bro, I think the Rams deserve to lose this game, man. Like that, I was saying it in the chat. Like that last drive was so bad. Like, stop playing soft. He made his entire career. He made his entire Super Bowl resume off crushing soft zone. Like, stop it. Like, you have Aaron Donald. I would take my chances and just blitz, blitz the gaps, like rush him up the middle. If it's man on man, like, so be it. Whatever. Like, you have Ramsey. You have like weapons. Well, you have some weapons on defense. Like, stop letting him pick you apart, like, on those soft underneath zones. Like, it's just so. But hey, credit to him, man. He's like perfected it. Like, going 70 yards in like 20 seconds is no joke.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, it's been proved over and over the way to beat Brady is with pressure, and they just got that Rams defense just got tight at the end of the game, and that's not the way to play him. And they had kept him at bay the entire game. I mean, I don't think they allowed a touchdown until that very last touchdown at the end of the last play of the game almost. Couple notes here. Bobby Wagner, he leapt over the line to block a field goal. Here, he's in his 11th year. The Seahawks cut him. I don't know why the hell they cut him. I got flashbacks of when he used to do that in his 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year. Wagner's still an incredible player, first ballot Hall of Famer. And then Cade Otton, tight end for the Bucks, 5 catches, 68 yards, and caught the game-winning touchdown. I think he's a new superstar tight end for them as they move on from Gronkowski. Moving on to the Seattle Seahawks beating the Arizona Cardinals 31-21. I'll just go ahead, and I have a ton of notes in this game. I'm just going to go through them here. So the first thing I'll say about the Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins is a game changer for sure, and that kind of showed like in the first half of this game, and then like in parts in the second as well. And then Kyler Murray is like always yelling at somebody. Like if it's not his coach, then it's his player, then the ref, and he's always yelling at somebody. But on the Seahawks side, there was a play in the first half where, OYU sent that video of Lockett avoiding contact like better than anybody else. But there was one play on 3rd and 16 where he ran 15 yards and then went down to avoid contact. And then they ended up punting the ball. I thought that was inexcusable. And I think he kind of made up for it as the game went on. He caught a touchdown. He started realizing how bad that play was. And it was still a very close game at that time. Um, Uchenna Nwosu is a pass rusher they picked up in the offseason. And he has already 7 sacks on the season. That's one more than his career high. He's a great underrated pass rusher. I think he's now 3rd in the league in sacks, maybe behind Zadarius Smith and Micah Parsons, 3rd or 4th, something like that. So he's a great pass rusher. On the pick 6 that Geno Smith threw, he telegraphed it the whole way. He went back. So basically, he went back and talked to Kenneth Walker. And then Budda Baker, the safety for the Cardinals, pointed to Kenneth Walker. And then Geno Smith, when he snapped the ball, he just looked at Kenneth Walker the entire time. He didn't look at any other receiver. And then he kind of lofted it up there, and then Zaven Collins took it and intercepted it and ran 20 yards for a touchdown. So that was the most telegraphed thing I've ever seen. The Seahawks missed so many tackles in this game. This game shouldn't have been close. They bailed out Arizona multiple times. On the other note, on that thing, I would say James Conner is the only reason he's in the league is because he has the ability to break tackles. He has no speed. He doesn't have any really elusiveness. He just kind of breaks tackles. I think the bootleg worked really, really well in this game for the Seahawks. They had that game clinching throw to Noah Fant on that bootleg. And the final thing I'll say is this is the most creative play calling I've ever seen from the Seahawks in the entire time I've been following them. So Shane Waldron, kudos to him. I know that was long-winded. Do you guys have anything to add?
Am I sure you guys won?
We won 31-21.
No, I mean, the way you're talking, like, it sounded so negative. I was just saying, like, sure you won.
Oh, yeah. I know. Because for a lot of this game, I thought that this could have been a blowout. But this was a 3-point game with, like, 4 minutes to go or less, 2 minutes to go. It was a 3-point game. So I was upset because I thought they were going to blow this game. So that's why I have all these negative notes. But Kenneth Walker, great game. Geno, great game.
You know what, though? My big takeaway, and like we kind of talked about it, like these road division games can be tough. And like, I thought it was going to be a close game because of that. Not because I think the Cardinals are better or like as good, but just because it's a road divisional game. And I think for you guys to go in and win that game was impressive because again, those games are not easy. I agree with you on Kyler. I've been saying it for like 2 years now. Like his body language is like so off-putting. Like, dude, you're the leader. You're supposed to be the leader of that team. Like, act like it,
Yeah.
Hopkins, like, that's my guy. I've always, he is, like, coming back up to that rank of being, like, the top receiver in the league. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. He's always great. And, like, the last thing I'll say before I let Rodney go is I think, like, we're to the point where we got to start thinking about Geno as, like, a serious MVP candidate. Like, Josh Allen did not play great today. He had his moments, but he like we talked about, he threw a couple of those balls, that he's privy to throw. They lost the game. I think you probably still give it to. Oh man, those are some high beams right there.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think you still give it. I think, unfortunately, I think Hurts is probably the front runner right now, just because that team is undefeated, him or Mahomes. But Geno's coming up, man. Like, if he keeps playing so efficiently, like, you can't not put him in that conversation.
Very good point.
Ahmad, I love that you're upset, even though you guys won. This means that now you're starting to get some confidence, and you're starting to look at your team as winners, and you have a lot of expectation out of them. This is how you do it, man. I don't know if you guys watch UFC, but there's a guy named Khamzat Chimaev who beat a guy like 2 fights ago, and he was upset that he beat him. You know why? Because it wasn't a blowout. And that's an attitude he brings to the table, and I love it.
Yeah.
Now, having said all of that, I'm starting to see the Seattle Seahawks as Super Bowl contenders, man. They're looking so good, bro. All right, remember how I said it's gonna be the Rams versus the Vikings in the NFC Championship? I'm changing it. It's gonna be the Seahawks versus the Vikings. And I'm sorry, Ahmad, your team is going down. However,
Wow.
what a great game. Hopkins is great, man. This guy's been great, but the Seahawks were great. What a great team.
Absolutely.
W.
Dub V, MVP, maybe Geno Smith. What a player. He's just. I agree. No, that's Geno deserves a lot of credit, man. I mean, he's playing completely different than what I saw him play in those few games last year. And he's just keeping it up. He's just keeping it up. You know, like that drive there at the end of the game, very composed. Ran with it when there were yards to be had there. But yeah, that was a great game.
Right.
And then they play the Buccaneers in Germany in the first ever NFL game in Germany next week. I'm really looking forward to that too. So
Yep.
we reached the end of the slate here. I got started solo. So if there's any other games that you guys wanted to talk about quickly that you didn't talk about, I'll give you the opportunity here. Are there any other games that you guys wanted to talk about or something that happened?
Did I miss Minnesota and Washington?
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about it. There's nothing to talk about. Minnesota for the W. What do you want to talk about?
Oh no, nothing, man. It's Kirk Cousins 1 o'clock show rolls on, man.
That's right. You've already talked about all the games, Alma?
Yeah, before.
Okay, well, we got to go back. We got to take a step back, and we have to talk. I know you're going to think I'm insane.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about Nick Folk of the Patriots. Okay?
This
guy has been a field goal machine. I don't know if you guys are following, but he single-handedly won me a few fantasy games because of field goals. This guy is getting field goals. Very classic Patriots behavior. Field goals, they go in. Congratulations, Nick Folk might be the next Sebastian Janikowski.
Ooh. Nice. Wow.
I mean, he's like 35, but it's okay.
Nick Folklove, nice. He's definitely going to be we're definitely going to him after this podcast for
we
sure.
We have to Nick Folk.
Absolutely.
You know, he's a former Cowboy, and you guys let him go.
Yeah. I know.
Big mistake.
Former Cowboy, former Jet, former like 15 other teams in the league.
Bro, I wish Knife was on, man. We talk about Bills Jets, because I was telling you guys that's going to be a close game. Like I didn't think the Jets would win, but once again, your boy, your brethren, Robert Saleh, he's got them playing like that. Defense is. I think I'm ready to start calling this defense elite at this point. Like it's kind of rounding into form. Once again, Ahmed Gardner, man, like this guy, I didn't think he would be this good early, but he's clear defensive rookie of the year. He's got it on lock, and I think he's clearly like one of the top corners in the league already. I would say top 10 like right now as a rookie.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed. For them to be winning with the quarterback play that they're getting was impressive. And then I also wish Knife was here to talk about his Raiders, to talk about his boy Derek Carr. I got a stat, and I saved this stat specifically for today's podcast, so pulling it up right now.
Yeah.
So, hold on just a second. So the Raiders, between 1960 and 2021, they have the number of times that they've blown 17-point leads or more was 5 times. So they've blown that 5 times in span of 60 years. In 2022, in the first 8 games, they've done it 3 times.
Ooh!
Wow.
17-point leads.
17-point leads. That isn't, bro. At that point, that's an indictment on your coaching. Like 3 times in half a season is inexcusable. Like, bro, what's his name? McDaniel sucks, man. Like, he just sucks. Like, we got to get over this. I mean, I don't think Derek Carr is as bad as Knife thinks. I think he's just like okay. I think he's like average. But bro, like McDaniel sucks. Like, just get over it. Fire him after the year and start over. Start fresh. Like, you have weapons. Just bring a guy in. Like, this isn't working. Like, clearly. Like, they were supposed to be way better than this.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
way better than this. This is an embarrassment.
I'm more impressed by the fact that you pulled stats from the 1960s than the actual stat itself.
I didn't pull it. I just got it. Credit to CBS Sports.
No, that's incredible, and you're right. I mentioned also when I was talking about it earlier, you said that if they lose this game, all hell is going to break loose in Vegas, and I think you're right because them blowing this game, especially because they looked really good for them in the first half. They kept feeding Devontae, and he had like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then it just fell apart. And that's coaching. You're absolutely right. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with his coaching staff. Maybe they don't even last this year. So we're going to move to the hot takes here, the hottest takes, the gnarly takes, the flame takes. All right, and I got a couple here. All right. So first. I'm getting more and more impressed with Justin Fields as I've watched him play in the second half of their season here. And what I've determined is he is better than Lamar Jackson. Okay?
I knew you were going to say that.
100%. Because he is a more composed version of Lamar Jackson. Even like he looks like a quarterback. He might not be like great at throwing the ball, but even like when he fakes to try to throw it, he looks more like he's going to throw it, and he throws off a lot of the defenders. And he is a very elusive runner. He always gets like 100 yards running now. And with Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery and him, they're a three-headed monster running. And then also now with the addition of Claypool, and I think Mooney is stepping up, and he's finally getting it to Cole Kmet. I think they're becoming kind of a well-rounded team, and they almost won the game against the Dolphins today. So I'm taking Fields over Lamar Jackson. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Aaron Rodgers will be benched this season for Jordan Love. Jordan Love is going to take over for the Packers this season. I'm sorry to say it. I've seen all I needed to see. And I mentioned this earlier. He had 3 picks in the end zone today. Yeah. In the end zone against the Lions, the worst defense in the league. Okay? And they're all because of underthrows. He is losing strength on his arm. He can no longer play quarterback, especially after this season, but I don't think he's going to make it through this season. So, those are my hot takes.
That's insane that you're saying that. You're insane.
If you guys go back and watch the highlights of this Packers game today, and Aaron Rodgers is just simply not the quarterback he used to be, and it's because of underthrows. Underthrows. That's a big deal. It's not like inaccuracy. He just can't throw the ball as hard as he used to, and you have to be able to do that in the NFL.
Okay, fine. I got a hot take, okay?
Yeah.
Nick Folk will have the most field goals in NFL history this year. and then Belichick will release him next season.
Probably. Yeah, exactly.
That's not a hot take, man. We all know it's going to happen.
All right. Fine. Yeah. You give yours, Yaman, and then I'll get you with an even crazier one in a second.
Oh, man. Wow. My hot take. I'm pretty bad at this, man. Just say yours. I'll think about mine in the meantime.
we got dueling thinking of hot takes.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys will. It's not really a hot take, man. I was about to say they're gonna lose their first game in the playoffs.
Oh man.
Okay, that's a take. That's a take.
You put me on. Oh my God, forget it. I can't, man. My hot take about Nick Folk was a hot take. I don't care.
Nick Folk, the folk hero. We'll go with that. No, that's good. He'll lead the league in field goals this year. That's a hot take. I didn't think he was going to do that.
He will have the most field goals in NFL history in one season.
Okay. That's a hot take. I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm gonna say based on what I saw today, it's not really a hot take. It's more of a bold prediction. I don't think the Rams are making the playoffs, man. I think that's pretty obvious. Like it's what are they 3-6 now?
Yeah, they're
And
losers.
They're behind you guys, and they're behind the Niners. Um, the Bucks are probably gonna win that division at like 9-8 or something. Well, they'll probably start winning some games at some point. But yeah, man, I think that the Super Bowl champs are not making the playoffs this year. Like they look old and they look like they don't have depth at certain positions, which surprise, surprise is going to happen when you trade away all your picks. And I think I mean, I can't even say it wasn't worth it because they won a Super Bowl, but I think they're going to have to pay a price now for not having those picks, right? Because now all your players are going to start getting old. You won't have the depth. And it's funny, I read a story the other day saying that Sean McVay's future is tied to that core group of like Stafford and Donald and Ramsey. So he's going to retire like once they leave.
Yeah.
And they're going to be left with nothing. Like, it's almost like, he's being a schmuck about it, honestly. Like, oh, well, I'll just wait for another opportunity where I can get more talent and then come back and coach there. But, I mean, I've never liked McVay, but he is a great coach. I can't take that away from him. So, yeah, that's what I'll say. That's kind of like my thing. I agree with you about Justin Fields. I mean, I don't know if I'll say he's better than Lamar because I think I think it's fair your points about him beating you with his arm, but I think Lamar is so dynamic with his legs. Like Fields is very good. Fields is like a very good runner. Like again, like I said last week, they have the number one rush offense in the league. He almost had 200 yards rushing today. But I don't know, man. I don't think he can like make guys miss, like 10 guys on the defense miss like Lamar Jackson can, like on a regular basis. But I think like maybe like he can become more of a composed, consistent passer. Like even if it's not like a great passer, maybe he can be like better than what Lamar is, and then at that point like you'll have like a good kind of conversation there. But unlike Lamar, I think that Fields needs weapons because I don't think Lamar needs weapons, to be honest with you. Because I think his whole game, like he is the system. You know what I mean? Like everything is based around him. So I don't understand the whole like, oh yeah, he needs weapons, but bro, like he doesn't like beat you, from the pocket. Like that's not his game. With Fields, I think that they have been trying to do that. And now they're starting to run the ball more. But I think at some point, if they do try to make him more of a pocket passer, I think, you are going to have to give him weapons for that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And not Chase Claypool.
Yeah, he didn't do anything today. He's very inconsistent.
Sucks, man.
He's very inconsistent. I agree. Yeah. Well, guys, that brings this Week 9 recap roundtable to a conclusion. I want to allow you guys, if you have any plugs, to go ahead and plug.
Well, we're going to change things up this time, yo. I'm going to plug my personal channel. I don't know if you guys have been watching. I don't know if you guys have been keeping your eyes open, but your boy is going on a journey, bro. We're going to test out, I mean, you guys will see, man, but we're testing out every single coffee shop in D.C., Maryland, Virginia. We're going to set reviews. We're going to give you guys something to look forward to when you're looking for a new coffee shop in D.C. If you're into something like that, please follow me on my channel. I am ready to go.
I am ready to go. And what are the 4 criteria you have? You have the taste of the coffee, the espresso,
milk-based drink, food item, and
the vibe, baby. That's my favorite one. Yeah, nice. Yeah, look forward to following that, man. That sounds really cool. Yeah.
I appreciate it, man.
Nice.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, of course. Oh, wow. Any last plugs?
No, I got nothing, but I'll just give Roddy's dream and his coffee brand more of a plug here in the next 10 seconds. Everybody should check it out. It's international. We got guys in Bahrain drinking it, so let's keep it going.
Nice. Second rice
Coconut
coffee.
oud, baby. Don't forget about that.
Of course, coconut oud.
Coconut oud, man.
Smell like a champion. There you go. All right, thank you so much, fellas. I appreciate it. This has been the Football v Football podcast. Follow us on Instagram, on Twitter. You can watch it on YouTube. You can listen to it on Spotify and Anchor, and you can support it on Kofi. Al-Radi, Omar Yusuf, thank you so much for joining, and have a fantastic day, football fans. Until next time.